At Università dell'Immagine, young students were being trained on the five senses and how to use them for creative and communication professions. Here I had an enlightenment, a life-changing encounter with a perfumer, master perfumer Jean-Claude Helena, who I was privileged enough to have as my teacher of perfume science. My life changed because all of a sudden I realized how much perfume was an art form, a creative language that I could use to tell my story, but also to find my story. After a few years spent working in this industry, I have brought the experience further. And nowadays, I work a lot on promoting perfume education and creating the opportunity for people to learn more about this, because the opportunity remains very rare for people to be exposed to this language. This happens nowadays in two places, mainly. One is Kingston University in London, at the School of Design, where I am teaching a course called Design with Sense. Design with Sense is the first course in the world about the design of places through the sense of smell. What happens at Design with Sense? This is a course that I teach with two amazing fragrance professionals called Joanna Norman and John Ayres, who together bring 50 years of expertise in fragrance chemistry, training, and marketing. And with me, lead this 5-day scent marathon. It's a 1-week course which goes on in July every summer. It's open to the public. And we have professionals as much as students across all creative industries that explore how to communicate with fragrance. They explore how to design a scent for space. So in other words, they explore how to use perfume to enhance projects in the field of design, art, and communication. The teaching of perfume in this course happens through a method that I've been using, which is called synesthetics, which comes from the connection and the interrelation between the five senses. This means that students use the sense of touch, taste, hearing, and sight to learn about perfume ingredients. There is another place in the world that I'm happy to work with. It's in Switzerland, in Bern, where the academia is being very innovative. For the first time, the University of the Arts of Bern has decided to offer their students the opportunity of studying perfume. This is a University of Fine Arts, so you would have students coming from studying disciplines such as fine art, art curation, art history, communication and design, as much as classical music, drama, literature. And what's extraordinary is that this is part of the academic offer. So it's a course that the student can choose. The course is called Olfactory Art and Design, which is running next month for the first time in Switzerland. What will happen? Students will investigate correspondences between their area of expertise and that of smell. So you would have an artist that is working, for example, with painting or with sculpture, experiencing how they can translate their message through the sense of smell, as much as investigate how there are interrelations between main work of art and the sense of smell. And then there is this place, which is changing my life, actually. Last year, for the first time in my life, I had the privilege to be exposed to Middle Eastern perfumery. Let me start by saying that I'm not an expert in Middle Eastern perfumes. That, I'm sure, is something that would take a lifetime. But there is something amazing that I have learned that I would like to share with you today. Let's look at this map for a second. So this is the Arabian Peninsula. And as you can see, the largest nation in this part of the world is the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which in the whole Middle East is also the largest economy right now. this is a place where all the eyes are right now, where everybody wants to go. In recent years, the Middle East, of course, has become incredibly influential across different sectors. These people have an amazing wealth, and they are developing. So they need us. They want us. And what's really surprising is that, let's look at some information about this country. The capital, of course, is Riyadh, which has a population of 5.4 million. The whole population of this country is about 30 million, where 70% of them are from Saudi, local, and 30% are foreigners. But going through this data, what piece of information strikes you the most?
Yeah, the 55% under 20.
Absolutely. This is an incredibly young nation. 55% of them are under the age of 20. So if you think about it, it's the exact opposite of what's happening in Europe. So population growth is incredibly high. So, at a time where we see men dressed in white coming and doing business here in Europe, women dressed in black doing a lot of shopping, when we hear about endless luxury towers being raised in the cities in the middle of the desert, I find myself wondering, okay, they have oil, they have cash, but who are these people? What do they look like? What do they do in their daily lives? What do they smell like? So, looking for the answer, I went there and I came back here today to share this experience. This is my nickname for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, Kingdom of Odors, where the use and the consumption of fragrance is unparalleled to any other country in the world. Today, we will see why and how. Over the last year, I've been asked to help to work on a project in Riyadh, in the capital, which is called L'Odore. This is the first place in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia which is dedicated to niche perfumery. So far in the kingdom, artistic perfumery has entered, but it is sold mainly in department stores. So there's been a lack of a place that is dedicated to this field of perfumery. And this is the answer that this project is giving. As you can see, the style, the design is very Arab, very luxurious. There is a Europe inspiration. Perfume is being exhibited like a work of art within niches and frames. Also, this you can experience this also in the shopping experience, which is offered by a highly trained team and a large number of initiatives taking place every week. This place is opening next month in the Burj Rafal Tower in Riyadh, and we believe it's going to create a little bit of revolution in the local market, because it is effectively the first time that this is happening. There's so much attention is given to artistic perfumery. It is very much L'Odore that is offering this experience to all of you today. Why is this? We believe that it is great to seek opportunities in a place like the Middle East. But I personally believe that you need to establish a dialogue between this part of the world and that part of the world, besides doing commerce. Why? Because this is one of the strongest perfume cultures that the world has ever known. We as well in Europe have developed through the last 2 centuries an amazing perfume culture, from ancient civilizations through Renaissance and the birth of the perfume industry in France in the last century. So this project also wants to build a bridge between European, Western perfume culture and local Saudi, Middle Eastern perfume culture. Scents are something that we are using every day to cleanse ourselves, to refreshen ourselves, to seduce, to feel better. But they are also something that have the incredible power of saying who we are, what we do, the way we interact with one another, the type of human beings that we are. Scents can be described as the architecture of our social relationships. Scents create cultures, and cultures create scents. Maybe this doesn't make sense right now, but I hope it will by the end of this lecture. So I have someone helping me. Thank you so much. So that you know, my speech is over. The next bit is going to be about you. This is going to be very interactive. We're going to be smelling today. And I really want to hear your reactions. We have about 4 scents, and my objective for the next half hour is to take you to Saudi Arabia, to experience the scents that are typical of that culture. I'm talking about scents, not perfume brands. So scents that are part of the culture. We will do this in 3 different steps. It is very important that as you smell what's being given to you, you take the time to experience it individually. So I kindly ask you to first focus on your own perception. Allow yourself to experience the smell before talking to the person next to you. Otherwise, the person next to you will be saying, this smells like my grandma, this smells like my boyfriend, this smells like holiday. Your perception will be affected, and your memory will be stopped from searching into your own brain for meaning. So take a moment to experience this, like if you were meditating on it. Then the second step, we will share our perception with the person next to us. And then ultimately, we will share all together. Are you ready? Great. So we receive the burner, we smell it for a second, and we pass it on to the person next to us. I'm sorry for the delay on the second burner, but it's electric, and sometimes electricity is not really the best friend. So as the scent diffuses in the room, as the scent reaches you, I would like to hear some of your reactions.
I don't speak English very well. I speak Italian, but I understand you. It seems to me like incenso, something
Incense.
sacro, qualcosa di così religioso, sacro, qualcosa così.
She's saying it feels to her like something sacred and religious.
I don't speak English, may I speak tradurre, perfetto. Ma per me è una cosa molto personale in realtà, nel senso che a me ricorda tantissimo i viaggi che facevamo verso il sud Italia, perché comunque durante le vacanze si andava nel sud e si partiva prestissimo di notte, e ad un certo punto quando si arrivava in zona Marche, Abruzzo eccetera, c'era molto l'odore dei fuochi di sterpaglie che avvenivano durante la notte, quindi c'era proprio questo sentore, insomma.
She said that this reminds her of when she was going on holiday in southern Italy, and at night people would use to burn some tree remains, and this is the scent that reminds her of. What about the sensation? How does this scent make you feel?
Comfortable. Yeah, it reminds me of the incense sticks that I used to burn. For me, it had a very soft sandalwood overtone, like they used to be. They said it was sandalwood, on those. Yeah, they're comfortable.
Qualcosa di piacevole che le ricorda dell'incenso e del sandalo.
Purifying. For me it was purifying, protecting.
Lei sente un senso di protezione e di purezza, si sente purificata. If you had to use this scent, when would you use it?
I guess if I have guests and I have like a event, so I would use it if I have invited people over.
Lei dice che lo utilizzerebbe per per accogliere gli ospiti a casa. So, what have we been smelling? What does this mean? In the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, in this culture, burning oud is considered a warm welcome. So this is the most typical way for a Saudi family, for any Saudi household, to receive their guests. When people arrive, essences are burned, and this type of smell in particular. You have to know that when they say oud, it can mean the oud ingredient coming from a tree from Indonesia and Borneo, but also it means this combination of scent, which is what we are smelling today. This is not a wood stick, it's a combination of different ingredients from a local perfumer. Here I brought some pictures for you. This is a traditional house of the Njed region, which is the north of KSA. So this is a typical ancient Saudi home. So nowadays Saudis don't live in houses like that. But at this festival, which I visited last month, called Jenadriya, it's a festival about Saudi heritage and culture. And this shows the architecture and the design of a typical Saudi home, traditional. And as we can see, this is the outside. It's made of clay. The inside, we have this gathering area where people eat, socialize. And what you can see, if you look carefully, over here and over there, you find a burner. A burner is present in every room. There wouldn't be a Saudi home without a burner. And what's really amazing is that according to the family, the blend of what they burn inside the home will be different. So every home, every family in a way, have their own scent logo. They started doing scent marketing longer before us. Normally, in the power of women, it is women that would go to the souk, which is a local market where you can buy essences, spices, or from a local shop. There are endless local perfumers in Saudi. And they would choose what to put in their house. It can be just a stick of oud coming from a specific tree, or it can be a combination of different ingredients, or it can be a stick immersed in a combination of oils. So this requires a lot of passion, creativity, and knowledge, because you're actually blending things together and creating something for yourself. But this is not only a warm welcome. This scent also is a scent used to seal a moment with a scent. What does this mean? That for special celebrations, such as weddings, for example, people would burn this ingredient and do what we were doing earlier, this, and let the scent be imbued in your clothes. And by doing this, you are using scent to create a memory, to celebrate a specific moment. And of course, according to, again, the celebration, you can choose the quality of the scent that you're burning and the type of burner. Next scent. We have a powder here that we're passing around. I'm going to ask you to dive your nose without sniffing it. Again, as you receive this scent, take a moment to look at your own perception. What does this mean to you? What we're doing now is not just a smell exercise or learning about a different culture. It's also a way to look into ourselves, explore our memories and our connections. This is the privilege that the sense of smell offers us. Because the sense of smell is so much connected to our memory, it's always a journey throughout our own experience, throughout our own history as human beings. We smell, and the scent reaches this area of the brain called the limbic system, which is where all the memories are stored. And there are a lot of drawers would open, suggesting different places we have been, different people we have met. Training the sense of smell, it's an exercise of self-awareness. So as we smell this, let's think for a second, how does this scent make us feel? How does it make you feel?
Also comfortable like before.
Una sensazione di comfort.
Sorry?
Translated.
Sì. È una sensazione di grande tenerezza, dolcezza e delicatezza.
Tenderness and softness.
I don't know, it reminds me the south of Spain.
Reminds you of?
The south of Spain.
Le ricorda il sud della Spagna.
Clean.
Pulizia. So as you smell this, where are you taken? Which place do you envision? What is happening around you?
It's a really outdoors smell. Green, grassy.
Un odore dell'aria aperta, l'erba, verde.
It makes me feel hungry. It makes me feel like there's some cooking going on.
Yeah, me too.
La fa sentire affamata, come se fosse in una cucina.
Yeah, souk, like Arabic souk with spice.
È il succo arabo con le spezie. Any other impressions?
Cardamom.
Cardamomo.
Reminds me the spicy black pepper and some green products, probably before to eat.
Spezie verde, cardamomo, qualcosa prima di mangiare. So, before we look at what this actually is, we look at what this means in this culture. This is the smell of a daily social ritual. Together with the smell number one, this represents every household, every family of Saudi. There will be no family, no home without the smell. This smell brings us to the very strong culture of coffee, Arabic coffee. What you're smelling right now is a blend of different things. I don't know if some of you actually mentioned some ingredients. It puts together the freshness, coldness, I would say uplifting character of a spice called cardamom, together with the opposite, we can say, the spicy, warm, sensuous qualities of saffron. But there's another spice here. Zenzero is ginger. No? Clove. Garofano. Chiodo di garofano. Again, this is just one. I went to the Genadria festival again, which was an amazing experience to learn about Saudi culture. And this blend was given to me by a woman who said to me, this is my secret recipe, comes from my grandmother. Because again, every household would have a different blend of spices to go with coffee. So coffee at your friend's house would taste different from coffee at your grandmother's house, for example. And it is, of course, a display of friendship. Offering coffee together with burning wood is, again, a way to receive guests, to show generosity and appreciation for a visit of a friend. Here, again, some picture from the Genadria festival, where you can see how coffee is offered to you. This is a very complex culture that has very specific rules, especially in terms of body language. So when you receive coffee, you would always use your right hand, never use your left hand. Right hand is used to hold this small cup. As you can see, it's very small, much smaller than an espresso cup in Italy. The left hand is used to pour. There's also a specific gesture, if you ever go to Saudi, on how to say yes or no. So if you keep drinking, be careful, because by the end of the visit, you'll be like this. They keep pouring, pouring, and pouring. So if you are okay, you would do this or this, which means I'm okay, it's enough. Here you can see again a traditional home with coffee containers. So as you can see, as part of the design, the burner and the coffee maker in every culture, in every home. Also, there is a secret ingredient here. This woman said to me that this contains musk. Now, I have no idea what she means by saying musk, because as we know, musk originally is just animal ingredient that comes from the musk deer of Mongolia. So I'm not sure that she put this ingredient there. But you know, musk is always something a word that people use and they mean all sorts of things. So let's just make it a secret blend for now. Scent number 3. And this time we use a paper strip, which will be passed to you. Again, start on your own. Start on your own. And I asked you not to think of what this is. So don't worry about telling me this is sandalwood, this is jasmine. Let's start from another perspective. What does this mean to you? How does it make you feel? How is this scent changing the way you feel right now? How are your sensations changing? Where are you being transported? Does it have a gender? Which occasion do you see? When would you use it? If you will use it at all. Let's see.
To me, it smells like an old-fashioned pharmacy.
Una vecchia farmacia.
I smell rose, and they would be on a massage table, very relaxed, and perhaps in the evening, relaxed, relaxing.
Un odore rilassante di un grande mazzo di rose su un tavolo.
A me ricorda mia mamma perché usa sempre l'acqua di rose e allora mi ricorda la casa.
Reminds her of her mother, as her mother would use scent of rose and rose water.
Sì, perché sento le rose, non so se poi...
As she can smell water. Does this have a gender?
I don't know, but remember the soap bubble? Bolle di sapone? Bolle di sapone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Childhood?
Yeah.
Infanzia.
Una doccia rilassante.
A relaxing shower.
It reminds me of candy that I used to buy in Turkey, which is made with rose perfume. And
Turkish delight. For how many of you this scent would represent a woman? Donna or donna? For how many of you does this represent a man? Per quanti questo odore maschile? Amazing. 3. So as you can see from the screen, this is a scent that represents something very, very specific in Saudi culture. Masculine power and elegance. So this, I'm sure that, as we have seen here, is completely the opposite of our perception. And this is one of the interesting aspects of perfume, of the perception of perfume, that in some culture it means something, somewhere else it means something completely different. So over here, rose, this is a rose, is an ingredient that has been through the centuries been associated with femininity, elegance, love, seduction, and that probably most women would wear. A man would never dare to wear a rose in this part of the world, or most men. In Saudi, this is a scent for men. So it is the most common, typical scent that a man, mainly not young, maybe not 20, but adult, so 30, 40, 50, so your father, your grandfather would be wearing this in Saudi. And it represents, it's a classical scent that represents power and elegance. But it is also the scent of a mountain. What do we mean by this? We mean that this is a local ingredient. It's an ingredient that is grown in Saudi Arabia, in a city called Taif, which is near Jeddah. Taif is an agricultural area in Saudi. And as you can see, it's on top of a mountain. This is a road that leads to Taif, where roses are grown. Now, to be frank with you, we are not 100% sure that this is Taif, what you're smelling, because the production is really small and really rare. It's very, very difficult to find Taif. But this is what people call Taif. So it may not be a Taif rose, but when you give this to a Saudi person, they will immediately say, this is Taif. As you can probably see from smelling it, it is slightly different from the smell of Turkish rose, for example. Would you classify this as fresh or dry? fresh. It's very, very, very fresh and very citrusy, right? It is probably higher in citronelle. It has a citrusy aspect, which is very different from, for example, the Turkish rose, which is much drier and somehow spicier. I would say that this is a more colorful rose. Probably more similar to the centifolia, the rose from grass, than the rose from Turkey. And then we have the last scent for today. Oh, wait a second. Do you want to try it on your skin? Let's wait this for a second. So, when you buy a perfume from a local perfumer in Saudi, this is what you would get. Have you ever seen any of this? So here the scent comes not in alcohol, like we use in this part of the world, but it comes in oil. And this is what happens. This is the way a scent, a perfume, would be offered to you in Saudi. In oil, and by applying it on your skin. They don't use paper strips. You try it immediately on you. So it's a very intimate perception.
Is it the same perfume?
It is the same. Does it smell different on your skin?
Yes, of course.
How different?
The skin is more fresh and more sharp.
How do you like it? How do you like this rose? Is it something you have smelled before? No? Now, do you still see it? Can you imagine now a man wearing this? An Arabian man, okay, fair enough. Okay, so to finish, we go to scent number 4, which comes on a paper strip. As you receive this scent, compare your perception. What is the story behind this scent? What is its meaning? What are the qualities? What is it there for? Share this experience with the person next to you for a second. Let's see some reactions.
It's Cologne 4711.
I'm not asking that. Okay.
It remembers me on my grandma because she took it very often.
So it reminds her of her grandmother. Let's see how.
Agrums.
Citrus.
Fleur d'oranger. Yeah.
Orange flower.
Fleur d'oranger.
Okay, aside from ingredients, how does this make you feel?
Fit, very fit.
Fit. When would you use it?
I think it smells of a man, so I wouldn't use it.
Smells of a man. When would you use this?
I wouldn't, probably wouldn't.
What do you associate to?
It's a fresh, clean cologne kind of type smell.
So, would you agree? A fresh, clean type of cologne? Yes. So, probably the oldest perfume in history, the 4711 eau de cologne, but just as much as any other cologne. So it's not about the 4711. The eau de cologne, for those that are not from the perfumer world, is probably the first ever perfume created 3 centuries ago by these two brothers from Calabria, south of Italy, who migrated to Cologne, the city in Germany, where they started producing this cure-all remedy called eau de cologne, using the key ingredient of their home native land, Bergamotto di Calabria. And this was used at the time, and it became a major fragrance used not only as a perfume, but as a remedy. So to feel incredibly refreshed, enlivened, uplifted. People would even drink it. So it was sold in pharmacies. And nowadays it's still a type of fragrance that we in the West very much look at as an inspiration. Like it could be an Oriental, like a Fougère. This is an eau de cologne. It has very fresh top notes of lavender, neroli, bergamot, of course. But what's amazing is that in Saudi Arabia, no one would ever wear this because it is used after meals to splash their hands. So after eating, you would go to a sink to wash your hands, and nearly in every sink in a house or in a restaurant, you would find, not 4711, but probably a local copy of the eau de cologne that people would use to refresh their hands like a wipe, like a scented wipe after a meal. So you see again how in two different cultures, the perception and the use of a scent is incredibly different. So we have said that scent is everywhere. The consumption of scent is incredibly high. Now Saudi Arabia with Brazil is the biggest economy in terms of perfume in the world. But why is this? Why are these people so obsessed with fragrance? Do we know? Do you have any idea why they use so much perfume? The temperature.
Vestiti tutti uguali per
Because they're all dressed the same, they want to create a different identity.
I live in Oman, and I know that Oman is the frankincense hub of the world, and it goes back for many, many years. And that Queen Sheba and King Solomon, like they have a biblical Islamic history to, like when Lord Jesus was born, then they sent gold, frankincense, and myrrh from Oman to Lord Jesus. And I also think that in the Holy Quran, the Prophet has encouraged the Muslims to spend their money on perfumes. And because the Prophet, and it's a very religious, strong culture based on religion, I think they love splurging, and I think that they consider that.
Exactly. It's religion. Religion is behind this. Religion creates a scent culture. In the Quran, numerous are the verses dedicated to perfume. It is a sin to smell bad. It is a sign of generosity to burn smells as offerings when you go to a place like the mosque. It is written that before prayer, before going to the mosque to pray, it's good to burn essences and bring it with you as an offering to the mosque. So you can see how much perfume, commercial products, sometimes are connected to our history, culture, in this case, religion. So this is all from me from today. I hope you have enjoyed the journey and the discovery of a new culture, very far away, not accessible to a lot of people, but a place that now more and more we're coming to know because it's so present in our lives and in our businesses here. Do you have any questions?
Nicola, is the hand wash based on an alcoholic fragrance? Because that would be contrary to what you're wearing on your skin, which would be an oil.
Yes.
So the wash is actually alcoholic.
As far as I know, yes, it's not oil.
So it's then antibacterial as well.
Probably.
Would kill the microbes if it's not.
Probably. What I know is that it's not oil.
Against the religion as well. If you're a Muslim, alcohol is not something that you would normally be allowed to use.
For drinking, yes.
But even in the past, where we used to sell lots of stuff, tea rose fragrances and things to Saudi, there was always a request for non-alcoholic fragrances.
Yeah, but now they are sold. So people would use. Actually, this is an interesting question because what happens nowadays is that whereas we would probably just go to a perfume shop and buy a fragrance, an eau de parfum, eau de toilette, they mix everything. So they would use a local attar, a local perfume, like could be taif or oud, for example, or musk, in oil, and they would put it on their skin. Then maybe on top of it, they put a scented cream from Chanel No. 5. And then finally, they would spray an alcohol-based eau de toilette, eau de parfum that they would buy in Sephora. So nowadays, it's a mix of oil and alcohol-based fragrances.
I'm curious to know to what extent you are changing the packaging or the bottling or anything related to the Western fragrances that you're selling locally in Odore to meet the aesthetic demands of the local market.
Well, to be honest with you, we are there to bring a message and an art of perfumers that are creating their own art here in Europe. So we are not really changing it. So we are keeping the identity of the real perfume in this part of the world over there as much as possible. We are adjusting maybe more to taste in the selection of fragrances that we sell or in the sizes. But as far as the bottle design is concerned, we are keeping the same. Also because I think this would be a bit confusing for the perfume brand to be recognized perhaps when people travel, because Saudis travel extensively. They always travel so much. So they want to see, if you're selling them a perfume that is sold in London or in Paris, they want to see, of course, the same. But at the same time, of course, they love bespoke and special things. So there is always a room to adjust.
To what degree does the choice denote social status or financial status or wealth? Is there a big difference? Can you, for example, can I tell from the way someone smells when I'm more experienced if this is a person of higher rank or social status?
Yes, definitely. Well, for example, as we have seen before, already the smell of Taif is supposed to give a specific meaning and perception of a person. But it's also probably in the quality of ingredients that they would buy. So, for example, with oud, which is one of the main ingredients used over there are a lot of qualities. And you can buy a cheap oud or a very, very expensive oud that has been aged for a long time in a specific store. But to be honest with you, the amount of fragrance that they will wear will always be quite high. And what's also interesting is seeing that a lot of younger people, you would see that they want to experiment. And so they would wear, for example, a traditional oil with a Western. Also with men, they would wear maybe some oud and then some, Dolce & Gabbana on top of that. So by seeing that, you can also see, you're thinking, maybe, this is a guy that travels, this is the guy that wants to be inspired by the West. Maybe a more traditional person will be wearing a more traditional sense. But this is not only the passion, but it's the way that they use fragrance, which is completely different from here. It seems like, in a way, each and every one of them is a perfumer, because they are constantly mixing and creating their own blend and want to feel special and ask people, what are you wearing? Why is that? Where did you buy it? Any other questions? No. Okay, thank you so much for coming. Keep in touch with me and L'Odore. You will find us online, Facebook, Twitter, all these modern ways of communicating.